We often see our relationships as just extras in our daily lives, not giving them much thought. But what if I told you that the quality of your relationships could be the most important thing in your quest for a happy and fulfilling life? Today we're going to learn a lot from the ancient philosophy of Stoicism, which teaches us not only how to be strong and peaceful in the face of hardship, but also how important it is to surround ourselves with people who truly respect and enrich our lives. Stoicism isn't just about enduring hardship, it's about figuring out what's truly good for our inner peace and moral growth. In this video, we'll look at 12 clear signs that it might be time to rethink some relationships, maybe even to the point of walking away. It's not enough to just stay away from bad people. You have to actively choose a road that is in line with wisdom, for fairness, bravery, and moderation. Come with me as I share these ideas, making sure that each step we take leads not only to inner peace, but also to a deeper understanding of what it means to live a good life according to Stoicism. Whether you want to improve your relationships or find the strength to make tough choices, you will get the tools and ideas you need to change how you interact with other people from this talk. Let's start this journey together to learn how to cut ties with grace and keep our peace of mind, which is the most valuable thing we have. Please don't skip any parts of the video to make sure you get the most out of the conversation we're about to have. If you like what we're doing, the easiest and most valuable thing you can do for us is click the subscribe button. Number 1. Consistent lack of respect. Respect is an important part of any good relationship. In the world of Stoicism, it's the foundation on which all other interactions are built. Respect is related to the virtue of just iustis, which means treating others fairly and with respect. When we talk about the persistent lack of respect, we're talking about a major breach of both interpersonal ethics and Stoic principles. Imagine being treated without the basic courtesy you show others all the time. It's like having your dignity chipped away. Piece by piece, this constant attack on one's honor is not only unpleasant, it's also a sign that the relationship doesn't fit with the Stoic goal of living a good life. Every contact is a chance to show virtues like wisdom and justice. If someone treats you badly over and over again, they are not only hurting your health, they are also making it harder for you to live by these rules. When we see or hear such disregard, whether it's through words, actions, or just plain carelessness, it's a clear sign that something important is amiss. Stoicism teaches us not to react with anger or rage, which are normal but not helpful feelings. Instead, it teaches us to react with judgment based on reason and emotion. Getting away. This means recognizing the lack of respect for what it is, a deviation from living a good life. It's not about blaming or getting angry. It's about understanding how other people's actions affect our ability to live a good life and deciding calmly and logically if those relationships should continue to play a big role in our lives. Recognizing and dealing with a consistent lack of respect isn't just a reaction, it's a proactive action to protect one's mental peace and moral integrity. It's about making a decision that fits with serious beliefs, choosing not to settle for less than you earn, and leaving if you have to, in order to stay true to your values of living fairly and with honor. This is more than just self-defense. It's a statement of your worth and dedication to the Stoic quest of virtue. Number 2. Negative effects on mental health. The people around us can have a big effect on our mental health through many channels. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to keep our tranquility, which means being calm and unbothered. This isn't about hiding our feelings, but about understanding and controlling them well, especially when they're caused by other people. If someone is making you feel anxious, depressed, or stressed all the time, it's a clear sign that the relationship may not be helping you. Stoicism doesn't just tell us to deal with hardships, it also tells us to create environments that are good for our health. Relationships that drain your emotional energy or make you feel down can make it harder to live a peaceful and meaningful life. Stoics believe that our health depends on our inner state rather than outside circumstances, but they also say that we have the responsibility to keep our inner peace safe from things that could upset it. One of the most famous Stoic thinkers, Seneca, often talked about how important it is to surround ourselves with positive people and stay away from those who bring negativity into our lives. Thinking about how a relationship affects your mental health isn't just about recognizing negative emotions. It's also about doing something to make sure they don't hold you hostage. This could mean setting boundaries or even separating yourself from people who consistently upset your peace of mind. By doing this, you're not just trying to escape discomfort. You're actively choosing a path that aligns with Stoic virtues. If you want a life full of logic, emotional strength, and most importantly, peace, and a relationship keeps making your mental health worse, it might be time to reevaluate and maybe change your social contacts. This isn't a failure to endure, it's a deliberate choice to live a healthier, more peaceful life, which is the final goal of Stoic practice. Number 3. Misaligned values. Your core beliefs and values are like a compass that helps you make decisions that are in line with who you are and what you stand for. But when these core values consistently clash with those of someone close to you, it can cause big challenges within yourself. Stoicism puts a lot of value on harmony and personal integrity. Because of this, misalignments are not only annoying, they are a major cause for worry. Stoics taught that peace of mind comes from living a good life according to principles. But when someone close to us lives by a set of values that are at odds with our own, it makes it harder for us to keep our peace. For example, if honesty is one of your core values and someone close to you often lies, this fundamental difference can cause tension and discomfort over time. Over time, these conflicts can weaken the trust and mutual respect that are necessary for a healthy relationship. Stoicism goes even further and tells us to think about the people we hang out with and make sure they help us grow as people and as people. Marcus Aurelius wrote a lot about how important it is to surround yourself with people who have the virtues you want to have. If our core values don't match those of our associates, it can be hard to grow as Stoics because we may have to break our promises on these values or live in a constant state of ethical conflict. Getting rid of these kinds of misalignments requires a careful look at the relationship. It might need open and honest talks where both people can say what they value and see if they can come to an agreement or compromise. If the gap is too big, you might need to rethink the relationship's purpose in your life. This isn't about judging the other person as wrong. It's about realizing that not every relationship is for your higher development as a person and as an ethical being. Getting rid of misaligned values is important for keeping your inner harmony and making sure that your relationships help you live a good and fulfilling life. This is central to the Stoic goal of peace and ultimately happiness. Number 4. Feeling constantly drained. In a healthy relationship, the exchange of energy should be energizing, not draining. If your interactions with someone leave you feeling tired all the time, it's a big sign that the dynamics of the relationship may not be in line with Stoicism's principles of self-present preservation through rational and harmonious living. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to keep our inner strength and use it wisely. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius stressed how important it was to be in relationships that were healthy and mutually beneficial rather than ones that drained our mental or physical resources. Stoic principles say that feeling drained after interacting with someone is not just a small problem, it's a major drain on the very resources you need to live a good, productive life. Feeling constantly worn out can show up in many forms, such as mental exhaustion, dread about upcoming interactions, or even physical tiredness. Based on these signs, it seems like the relationship is costing more than it's giving, which Stoics would say is not sustainable and not smart. Every connection you have should make you happier and help you become a better, more moral person. When this happens, you need to think carefully about why the relationship is draining you. Is it because you don't support each other? Encounters that only affect one person or the other person's constant negativity or demands? Finding the reason is the first step in figuring out how to fix the problem, whether that means being honest about how you feel, setting clearer boundaries, or in some cases, if the relationship can't be fixed, thinking about stepping away to protect your peace and well-being. Managing these draining relationships isn't just about getting rid of bad things in your life. It's also about making room for better, more supportive, and meaningful relationships, that align with Stoic ideals of mutual respect and personal growth. Each relationship should improve your life, not hurt it, so you can thrive and make a positive difference in the lives of those around you. Number 5. Manipulation. Manipulation is when you change or take control of someone's feelings or actions, usually by lying or being sneaky. It can happen in many places like personal relationships, the job, and the media. Using manipulative strategies can hurt faith, cause confusion, and take advantage of people for personal gain. Know the signs. Learn common ways to manipulate people, like using guilt, charm, or playing on their fears. Being aware is the first thing that can be done to stop influence. Maintain limits. Set clear personal limits and let others know about them. Being firm but polite keeps people from crossing the line and makes sure that your needs and values are honored. Communicate openly. Talk to people in an honest and open way. Don't be mean or accusatory when you talk about your thoughts and worries. This method makes it easier for people to understand each other and lessens the chance of manipulation. Get help. If you're not sure if someone is trying to trick you, talk to trusted family, friends, or a psychologist. Getting a different point of view can help you understand what's going on and decide how to react. Practice empathy. Try to understand why the manipulative behavior is happening by looking at the scenario with empathy. This doesn't mean you agree with the behavior, but it can help you deal with the problem in a kind and helpful way. You can protect yourself and make relationships healthier and more respectful by dealing with manipulation with awareness and empathy. Number 6. Lack of trust. In the Stoic view, trust is not just a part of a relationship. It is the very basis on which all relationships are built. Trust goes hand in hand with justice, which stresses being fair, being honest, and trustworthy. Trust is an important quality for any deep and meaningful connection. Without trust, relationships are unstable and full of doubts and fears that stop people from being truly close and connected. Stoicism teaches us to be honest and reliable, not just because these are good traits, but also because they create a space where trust can grow. When trust is missing in a relationship, it's usually because these strong values aren't being kept. This lack of trust can cause a chain reaction of bad feelings and actions. Openness is replaced by doubt. When fear takes over, people may not be able to move forward together because they are always on guard against being betrayed. To deal with the lack of trust, you have to go back to Stoic values and be honest with yourself. Are my actions adding to this lack of trust? Am I being as honest and trustworthy as I can be? Stoicism tells us to think about these issues, supporting honesty and integrity as the way to rebuild trust. If the trust problems come from the other person, a Stoic might approach the situation with empathy and understanding, while being firm enough to set necessary boundaries. This could mean starting difficult conversations to find the root of the trust problems or taking decisive action if those problems are found to be insurmountable. In some cases, staying calm and true to Stoic virtues may mean staying away from relationships where trust can't be restored. Trust is important for both the health and longevity of relationships and for the practice of Stoicism, which values the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are in a safe and reliable relationship. If trust is missing, it's a clear sign that the dynamics of the relationship need to be re-evaluated and maybe recalibrated in line with Stoic ideals. It's not just about getting along better with others, it's also about staying true to yourself and your moral beliefs. Number 7. Abuse. Any action or behavior that hurts someone, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or financial, is called abuse. It usually happens when one person has too much power and controls or dominates another. Abuse can come in many forms, such as physical violence in the home, sexual abuse of children or elders, and harassment at work. To deal with and stop these hurtful behaviors, it's important to know the different kinds of abuse and how they affect people. Don't judge others as you listen. If you really care about someone, listen to what they have to say without jumping in or passing judgment. Allow them to feel what they're feeling and recognize the pain they may be in. Talk in a kind and helpful way. Be careful with what you say so you don't make things worse. Instead of blaming or criticizing, use words that are calming and reassuring that show you understand and support them. Keep the lines clear. Understand and honor the person's emotional and physical limits. Do not force them to talk about things they do not want to or do things they are not ready for. Give help and resources without pressuring them to make a choice. Give them information about tools like counseling, support groups, or legal help that are out there. Make sure they know they can get help if they want it and that they have choices. Help people gain power. Tell them they should make their own decisions and choices. Giving them the tools to take back control of their situation can boost their confidence and make them feel encouraged as they heal. This method helps make a safe and helpful space for people who have been abused, which builds trust and makes it easier for them to get better. Any kind of abuse, Stoicism strongly opposes all kinds of abuse, whether it's physical, mental, or verbal. These actions go against the Stoic belief that all people are valuable and deserve respect. In Stoic thought, any kind of abuse goes against the very idea of what it means to live a good life with meaning. It is never seen as necessary to put up with abuse. Stoics say that the most important thing is to keep your own self-respect and health. Marcus Aurelius stressed how important it was to keep one's inner citadel safe from outside bad luck and crimes, such as abuse. This inner citadel stands for our strength to stick to our values and keep our mental peace safe. Recognizing and dealing with any kind of abuse is important not only for safety, but also for mental health and keeping one's sense of self-worth. The calm way to deal with these kinds of violations is to stay away from the person who is abusing you right away. This isn't about getting back at someone or holding on to bad feelings. It's about making a smart choice to leave harmful situations that go against Stoic ideals. Getting away from abuse is similar to the Stoic practice of self-care, which is important for living a good life. It's about taking responsibility for your own health and making sure that your surroundings and relationships support your moral and philosophical goals. If you are experiencing any kind of abuse, it is very important to protect yourself and get help if you need it. Stoicism isn't just about dealing with hardships calmly. It also teaches people how to act wisely and courageously when they are mistreated, always with the goal of protecting their own safety and well-being. For example, they might reach out to trusted friends, family, or professionals who can help them take the steps they need to make sure they are safe and respected. Number 8. Absence of growth. If you don't grow in any way, personally, professionally, or in your relationships, it can show up as stagnation or reversal. It's often marked by not making any progress or growing, which can make people unhappy, frustrated, and like they're stuck. Figuring out what's causing this standstill is important for getting past it and promoting real growth. Figure out the cause. Figure out what might be stopping the growth. Fear of change, being happy with the way things are, or hurdles from the outside could be to blame. Think about where you are now and what might be causing you to feel stuck. Set clear goals. Make goals that are SMART, which stands for specific, measured, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Setting clear goals gives you direction and a sense of purpose, which makes it easier to figure out what you need to do to get moving again. Develop a growth mindset. Change the way you think so that you welcome obstacles and see mistakes as chances to learn. A growth mindset pushes people to keep getting better and strong when things get hard. Ask for help and feedback. Talk to mentors, co-workers, or other trusted people who can give you advice and helpful feedback. Looking at things from the outside can give you useful information and help you see where you need to improve. Action plans. Based on your goals and comments, make plans that you can carry out. You should look over these plans often and make changes as needed to make sure you're staying on track to grow. These points are meant to get to the bottom of why people get stuck and give them a structured way to improve their personal and work lives. Number 9. Persistent selfish behavior. When someone consistently acts in their own best interest, often at the expense of others, this is called persistent selfish behavior. This kind of behavior can hurt personal growth, relationships, and the place where you work. Figuring out what causes it and how it affects people can help you deal with and manage it, what it is and what it does. When someone is persistently selfish, they only care about themselves and don't care about other people's wants or feelings. Lack of understanding, putting one's own interests first, and not giving much thought to other people's points of view are all signs of this. What causes? This behavior can be caused by many things, like how you were raised, your own insecurities, or things in your surroundings. For example, people who grow up in places where competition is high may make it a habit to put their own needs first in order to achieve or feel safe. Effects on friends and family. Being selfish for a long time can make relationships difficult by making people feel resentful and out of balance. Some people may feel unappreciated or used, which can cause problems with conversation and trust. Ways to bring about change. To recognize and deal with selfish behavior, you need to become more self-aware and empathetic. Some strategies are to practice active listening, ask for feedback, and make choices that take into account the wants and feelings of others. Advantages of not being selfish. Stopping being selfish all the time can help you have better relationships, communicate better, and feel more satisfied with your life. People often find that they get more help and agreement from others when they value and respect them. Understanding and dealing with persistently selfish behavior can help people get along better with each other and grow as people. Number 10. Destructive communication. When people talk to each other in ways that hurt relationships, cause arguments, and make things worse, that's called destructive communication. Destructive communication often involves actions that make things worse and leave problems unresolved, while positive communication helps people understand and work things out. To keep relationships healthy and useful, it's important to see and deal with these patterns. Bad reviews and blame. When people use destructive communication, they usually attack someone's character instead of talking about their actions or problems. This kind of criticism and blaming can make people angry and hurt, which makes it harder to find a solution. Being defensive. When people get defensive, they avoid open conversation in order to protect themselves from what they see as attacks. This defensiveness can make it hard to communicate clearly and make disagreements worse. Lack of respect and contempt. Being disrespectful with snark, insults, or comments that put others down hurts relationships and destroys mutual respect. Being contemptuous shows that you don't value or care about others, which can make misunderstandings and disagreements worse. Blockading. When there is a disagreement, stonewalling means cutting off contact or shutting down. This kind of behavior can make the other person feel forgotten and unimportant, which can stop problems from being solved and make things worse. Behaviors that are mean, using hostile words, yelling, or threats is all examples of aggressive communication. This way of talking hurts and scares the other person, and it usually makes things worse instead of better. Understanding these unhealthy ways of talking to each other can help people and groups recognize and stop doing harmful things, which leads to better and more productive interactions. Number 11. Disregard for personal needs. Stoicism says that respecting personal needs and limits is important for keeping your self-respect and relationships harmonious. Ignoring or downplaying these things can cause big problems, creating an atmosphere where disrespect and dissatisfaction thrive. The Thrive Stoic theory says that healthy relationships are built on clear communication and mutual respect. If someone consistently ignores or downplays your needs, it sends a clear message that your well-being is not a priority in the relationship. This disregard can show up as repeatedly crossing boundaries, making decisions that affect both parties, or failing to acknowledge and validate feelings and preferences. People who act in these ways not only hurt trust and fairness in a relationship, but they also hurt each other's sense of worth and independence. Important things that Stoics try to keep safe. To deal with these problems, you must first understand and affirm your own needs and boundaries. From a Stoic point of view, this is not about being selfish, but about self-care and making sure that you are not sacrificing your moral and emotional health to keep the peace. The next step is to clearly and assertively communicate these needs to your partner or friend. This conversation should not be confrontational, but should be done with the goal of teaching the other person about your needs and why they are important for maintaining a healthy relationship. However, if the other person still doesn't respect your needs after these talks, it may be time to re-evaluate the dynamics of the relationship. Stoicism teaches that it's important to be around people who make your life better. If a relationship consistently fails to meet this standard and causes more trouble than peace, it might be best to avoid that relationship. This is not an act of aggression or abandonment, but a smart choice to put your own health and moral integrity first, which are two important parts of a Stoic life. Stoicism also encourages people to deal with problems with courage and resilience. It also stresses how important it is to follow your values. A relationship that doesn't care about the person's needs is probably not good for someone who wants to live a peaceful and good life. Number 12. Absence of mutual accountability. In any relationship or team setting, mutual responsibility is important because it makes sure that everyone is responsible for their actions and promises. Not taking responsibility for each other can cause confusion, passing the buck, and a lack of trust. People might not want to take credit for their actions in these kinds of situations, which can make it harder for people to work together and move forward. Trust loss. If people or teams don't take responsibility for their actions, trust can decrease. People who don't hold each other responsible may start to doubt each other's honesty and dependability, which can make it hard for them to work together. Switching the blame. People are more likely to blame others for their actions when they are not held responsible for their own actions. This could lead to a bad atmosphere where problems aren't dealt with in a healthy way. Less teamwork. For collaboration to work, everyone needs to be responsible for their parts and duties. Members of a team may not work together as well if they don't feel like others are responsible for their actions. Lack of progress. Goals and projects can suffer when people aren't responsible for each other. People can leave projects unfinished, miss deadlines, and stop making progress overall if they don't hold themselves and others accountable. Conflict and resentment. When people aren't held accountable for their actions, disagreements can fester and anger builds. Problems that aren't dealt with openly can cause problems and dissatisfaction on a team or in a relationship. If you want to create a collaborative and productive environment, whether it's in a team setting or a personal relationship, you need to understand and deal with the lack of mutual responsibility. In any relationship, mutual accountability is not only a good thing, it's necessary. Stoicism tells us that taking responsibility for our actions is one of the most important virtues. When someone isn't accountable for their actions, it can break down important relationship pillars like trust and respect, leading to repeated misunderstandings and a loss of the trust that is at the heart of all healthy interactions. In Stoic practice, everyone is told to think about their actions and take responsibility for them. This includes admitting when their actions have hurt others and making amends where possible. If someone isn't accountable in a relationship, it can create an imbalance where one or both people feel like they aren't being heard or respected, which is very unstable because, according to Stoicism, relationships should be a source of mutual support and growth, helping each person better align with their virtues. Getting rid of a lack of mutual accountability requires honest, open conversation. It takes both sides to be clear about what they expect and agree on what it means for them to be accountable. Setting clear rules for behavior, talking about the effects of actions, and regular check-ins to make sure both people feel supported and respected could be part of this. However, if attempts to establish mutual accountability don't lead to positive changes, the relationship might need to be looked at. Stoicism doesn't say that we should stay in bad situations forever. Instead, it says that we should look for and keep relationships that help us grow as people and as people. Creating a space where mutual accountability is valued isn't just about keeping the peace. It's also about actively growing a relationship that values the Stoic ideals of justice, wisdom, and courage. A relationship that consistently fails to show these qualities may not be in line with the Stoic path to a fulfilled and virtuous life. As we come to the end of this chapter of our journey together, remember that the Stoics' wisdom isn't just an old book. It's a living, breathing guide for navigating the complexities of modern life.